Hey, I just want to call your attention to some great video work that's going on with the Raw Brahs. They've got a new channel what they're operating under called VitaminRB. And they're doing some interviews with a guy named Paul Chek, who is just, man, there's some concepts that I personally have been really trying to, like, sort of size down, where it's a lot of thoughts, but I need to get it into a communication essence, so to speak. And I do have a tendency to not be able to gather my thoughts. And as a digression on that, I won't digress very far. I realize that I do need to blog more often, because when I do blog, I keep wanting to just have this explosive communication diarrhea, as it were, and it just gets kind of crazy. But some of the things that I've been feeling that I've been wanting to communicate to you and communicate and be able to, like, size up in a nice little paragraph myself, this guy is saying very well, which is some of these vegan issues with sustainability, with not killing animals, with being a responsible human on this planet, with being sort of the lead species on the planet even. We're affecting the planet as human beings. So, part of what I arrived at, which is being talked about in these videos, is when I honestly trace back where my hormonal deficiency started coming on. And I'm going to make an admission here that I have not talked about, just because, again, of this sort of puritanism that exists in the raw food world. When the internet came on, I had a boyfriend at the time, and we were both very sexually sort of amused and both very hippie-like, but we started a porn business. I was a sort of porn star for a little while. Well, I did this at age 35. We had a lot of success with it, but that was when I noticed that my erection was starting to not be as strong as it was when I was younger. Although it did take another good 6 or 7 years for me to become completely dysfunctional, which I'm slowly moving away from now. I'm 50, where most people are just living on Viagra that have that issue, which I refuse to do. But anyways, so I'm not necessarily I read and take in a lot of data, but I keep wanting to recognize this individuality that we have, and I need to know, or I need to practice that I have an individualism, that I'm very specifically wired to who I am. And there are areas where blood type, body type, ethnicity, things like that, where there are specifics about me where I fit into that. But by the same token, I'm going to categorize that data and individualize it to what I know about me, of like, either I have a huge storage capacity with my memory and stuff, and so I don't necessarily need to always journal. But that might be a good idea for you to, like, really take notes on things. I mean, it's just like all these experts on everything, you got to decide what's real. It's just like part of what I want to say about this is that we have this whole ancestral thing of like what our ancestors ate. Well, me being a new age person, I don't buy that there's that our ancestral. I feel that we fell from a greatness, and to me the evidence of that is all my sort of new age teachings. And to somebody that wants to talk about evolution, that we are coming straight up out of primal raw, or, and I don't mean primal diet, I mean of just that this evolution that we're on is from an animal state, because I don't buy it. Because please explain the pyramids all over the world to me. Please explain all of those kind of things, which suggest to me that there was once a great technological civilization here. And I've read numerous books, which some of these authors are not connected, who say that. The first one I jumped on was Ramtha, which is just channeled teachings, and people could say, oh, that's a whole bunch of hokey bullshit. The second one was a book that Truth introduced to me, which was an old New Age book, which was called The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, which brings into account a lot of mathematical stuff, a lot of explanations of pyramids and things like that. So I don't want to digress on that too far. So I just want to say that, you know, the ancestral thing is great to know that's what we did before, but consider the fact that we are on the cusp of something where, you know, the fact that there is 7 billion people here now, that, you know, a diet, maybe we're moving to a new diet that's not ancestral. That's like something, and then people talk about, oh, the sunken face and all that stuff, and I've gone back and forth and in and out of that, and consider the fact that, you know, maybe that full face is not natural. Maybe the sunken face is natural. There were a lot of people in the 70s that really dug the way David Bowie looked. He had that sunken cheekbone face. You know, so maybe the way people look is like kind of very individual. It definitely is. The fact that somebody likes someone really skinny or somebody really fat, and these are all things that need to be taken into consideration before you go picking somebody apart, you know, based on visual, because to me it's like their ability to speak and communicate, and their ability to realize that the truly unique great thing, which I'm a big advocate of, is that everybody's an artist. Like, so if you're not being creative, it's like, for me, just for me, I'm not interested in what you have to say, you know, because that's my thing. So anyways, what I want to say is I'm trying to draw attention to these videos that the Raw Brahs are putting up with this guy named Paul Chek, and it's an interesting little connection that I have with this guy Paul Chek, because I watched some of their other videos where they were talking to Troy Casey, the certified health nut, and then a friend of mine, Chris, who you've seen, who I did videos with, good friend of mine. He was related to Troy Casey, and at the time I was listening to what he was saying, and he was talking about Troy Casey, and so we always want to keep an open mind, and I'm 100% guilty of not having an open mind at times. Like when I was 30, I was one of these dogmatic vegans, but at the time the information wasn't available that was now. When I was 33, when I was a hardcore vegan, when I got this tattoo here, it was working for me, and you couldn't convince me otherwise. But I'll tell you one thing. That's going on with this internet community, and I'll relate it to a community that I was in, of where with this internet community you get in these people where you can act like you're all superior and stuff. And, you know, most of us health people are all little islands out in our world, in the real world, you know, where it's like you go acting like a punk-ass vegan, like with your attitudes and shit, you're going to get your ass kicked. I mean, maybe not physically, but people are going to go, I don't want anything to fucking do with you. And so when I was 33, when I got this tattoo and everything, I was very heavily into body modification, and I lived around a website that was that made me think that you know, maybe everybody in the world was getting tattoos, was getting piercings, and I had some. I don't even know how many piercings I had. My dick was pierced 4 times. I had tons of facial piercings. I have brands. I have lots of these. Ones that I have here in my ears are very unusual. The ones in the middle are very unusual and difficult to have. In fact, you can bleed to death from doing them. So, but that was the world that I lived in. The internet allows you to go, and it's a great thing, because I've found so much people that I would never know if it wasn't for the internet. But I'm saying, have this awareness, have this respect of people, because I'm watching some of the comments with these Paul Chek videos that the Raw Brahs on their VitaminRB channel are putting up, and these vegans are operating, you know, and I'm talking about the people that I call Nazi dogmatic vegans, and it's great. Being vegan is really cool. I liked it. I felt cool when I was doing it, and you know, the whole idea of it, you know, I lived it. I felt this thing of like where you're having a low impact on the planet, but we won't digress on that too much. We'll just simply say that's really cool. But what's really a lot cooler is to is to find out what's real about us, and to like adventure that, and to have this honest journey that's not dogmatic, that's not in a box. And I don't think I've said this analogy yet. I'm a painter, and the idea of color, I can do a good metaphor with this. The world is not black or white. So what you need to know is that there's a lot of shades of colors between black and white. And the fact that white is the combination of all iridescence, of all colors, becomes white. And then black, you can add black to like sort of prismatic color to make that color deeper, like my bright orange wall back there. There's this sort of essence of black. Oh, maybe that's not the best, but if you added a little black to that, that color would become deeper. And so don't sit there and think that things are one side or the other. You know, we have this world of people who eat no vegetables whatsoever, you know, that just eat meat and potatoes and carb things. And so what do we have? We have people that go completely the opposite to become completely vegan. And it's just like, consider that there's like an in-between in there, you know? Consider that like you can, you know, and this used to exist with me and a lot of vegetarian people, where it's just like, you would say, oh, you're vegan or something, and then you see that person eating fish. You're not a vegan. You know? You can be vegan based. You can eat, I do eat a vegan diet, but I have a little bit of stuff here and there because I really, you know, I have my blood type, vitamin A, all of these kind of things that, where I am honestly mostly vegan. You know, and I'm just telling you, I've had this complete collapse of all the symptoms of being the angry person, of I've talked about it before. So anyways, I'm getting to this 11 minutes where I'm starting to talk more. And what I really want to say is that bring your attention to these videos with Paul Chek. That's all I want to say, because I'm going to put up probably another video today. This guy, I like what he's saying, and I really appreciate what the Raw Brahs are doing. I did not care for their videos at the beginning. I sort of subscribe to anybody I find who's conscious, who's making conscious choices with diet. I'm interested in what's going on, and their videos were a lot of high fives and hey bro and all this kind of bullshit. But now they're really getting down to like, I like what I see. So anyways, I'll put a few links down there to those videos, and you know, let's go ahead and go with the musical recommendation of the day, you know, or not of the day, but of this video, because I'm probably going to put another video up. And that would have to be, I considered, I don't want everybody, I am a big electronic artist, and so I also have a diversity. I really don't like sort of non-electronic music, because I feel that electronic sort of liberates the artist to have a lot more freedom and to get away from the technique and expression. So I want to mention somebody who's a little bit not so techno, and this was, and also it was corporate music. So I don't want you to think that I'm completely anti-corporate. I'm just anti-corporate with what's going on right now. So let me get down with it. This artist is Peter Murphy. He came out of a band called Bauhaus in the late 70s, which were kind of a very pioneering act with this sort of goth, dark gloom, although it was more of a mysterious thing then, and a lot of other great bands came into that goth thing, and then the goth thing kind of became this shock, bullshit, crazy shit, was eventually evolved into like sort of Nine Inch Nails, and especially Marilyn Manson, which is just a complete joke. But Peter Murphy really sort of, when he went solo from Bauhaus, his, I believe it was his second solo album, which was called All Night Long. I'm pretty sure that was the time. No, I think it was called Hysteria. But it had a single. The song I'm talking about is called All Night Long, which is beautiful. And it's just lovely, and lots of layered lyrics and beautiful 12-string guitars and arpeggiating marimbas. Gorgeous, gorgeous music. So there's a link in the D box down to, I'm just assuming that I'm going to be able to find a good cut of it. All Night Long by Peter Murphy from the early 90s. And this was a hit single in the alternative world, and it was corporate music. All right then, and check out those videos with the Raw Brahs.